Shanghai, a city home to some 26 million people, going into a two-stage lockdown.
That's right, Linda. This really follows days of confusion or even its biggest surge of COVID cases since the pandemic began. Now, for days, remember, authorities denied they would impose a citywide lockdown. Police in Shanghai actually has launched investigations against so-called rumor mongers about this imminent lockdown. Now, when you look at the numbers, 16,000 cases since March. But this is a city of 25 million people, as you mentioned. It's still a very small fraction. And also, the overwhelming majority of these cases, 97% asymptomatic. So all of this really matching what we have seen elsewhere with the Omicron variant, very contagious, but resulting in milder or even cases with no symptoms that do not really require much hospital care or even medical attention. But, and also remember, for a long time, the city really had prided itself on its less disruptive approach to COVID containment. So for a long time, a lot of people pointed to Shanghai as this shining beacon of hope that could eventually inspire other cities in China to really adopt this more lenient and targeted approach to eventually leading to the country being reopened. But instead, of course, we're seeing the exact opposite is happening right now, with the Shanghai authorities adopting some of the more the harsher measures we have seen elsewhere previously, including, as you mentioned, even though it's a two-step approach to lockdown, this is still sealing off millions of residents at their homes, and also, of course, shutting down most of the city's transportation, public transportation, including the world's biggest metro system, really leading to a lot of panic buying at stores or even takeout restaurants, as well as problems at hospitals because people, again, trying to seek medical attention for other illnesses being turned away, or even dying as a result. So all of this, of course, is now leading to the question of what the Beijing authorities are going to do, because ultimately they are the ones who are calling the shots.
Yeah, exactly. So, Stephen, the impact of a shutdown, especially if it's prolonged, could have global ramifications, right?
That's right. The authorities are putting on a very brave face publicly, saying all the essential workers in the financial sector, for example, have been working inside the so-called closed-loop system, which is what we saw during the Beijing Olympics. But how sustainable that is remains to be a big question. And also remember, since the pandemic began, Shanghai has been the gateway in terms of international flights into China. 50% of all arriving passengers and 70% of all imported cargoes. So now, of course, as a result of this latest wave of cases, the authorities have been diverting flights operated by Chinese carriers to other cities, but international carriers who are still, have to fly to Shanghai now start to cancel flights. And then, of course, cargo is a huge problem as well. So this is really, as you say, is going to cause a lot of headache and even heartaches. As that's why we're starting to a lot of public fatigue, frustration, or even anger bubbling just beneath the surface, at least online, that may just burst out.
What happens around the world does have cause and effect here in the United States. Stock up now.